us about the Sundance reservation. Although this ceremony was photographed recently, it portrays highlights of the ancient Sundance ceremony. From their homes on the reservation, the Plains Indians travel to the Sundance encampment. Only in automobiles, others still carry their camping equipment. Joe Newrobe lifts his buffalo robe from the wagon. As he carefully folds his precious robe, he remembers his grandfather who gave it to him. He will use his buffalo robe to help cover the sweat lodge. Each family brings food, clothing, and bedding to use during the week of the Sundance. Poles for the Indian tipi are carried on the wagon. Tall, slender trees of lodgepole pine are used for tipi poles. They are cut about 25 feet long. Branches have been carefully trimmed off, and the bark has been peeled. Any rough places have been smoothed out so the canvas tipi cover will not be torn. The 4 main tipi poles have been tied together near the top. In the early days, setting up the tipi was the woman's work. Today, the whole family helps. Some of the Plains Indian tribes used only 3 foundation poles when setting up their tipis. The Blackfeet Indians always used 4. The rest of the tipi poles are leaned against the 4 foundation poles. Mrs. Newrobe is unfolding the canvas tipi cover. She will fasten the cover to the last pole. "20 poles are being used to build this tipi. The Indians always used an even number of poles. When all the poles are in place, the framework is covered with canvas. In the early days, the Plains Indians used buffalo hides for their tipi covers. Sometimes as many as 30 hides were needed. When buffalo hides became scarce, the Indians began to use the skins of other animals. Later, they made their tipi covers of canvas, obtained from the white traders. When everyone helps, the tipi is put up quickly. At the top of the canvas, 2 smoke flaps can draft when a fire is burning inside. The flaps are fastened to poles. The size of the opening can be adjusted by moving the poles. Victor Newrobe climbs a ladder to fasten the front of. He places wooden. Victor's mother is pounding stakes into the ground to hold the tipi cover in place. Close by, in the camp circle, Ted Lonehorn has put up his painted tipi. Like the Indians of long ago, he has decorated his tipi by painting it with designs of animals and symbols of nature. The Sundance ceremony is a time for social events, sports, games, and renewing friendships. These Indian boys are enjoying their game of baseball. The sweat lodge is an important part of the Sundance ceremony. The sweat lodge is made of willow boughs covered with buffalo robes. Stones are heated in a fire near the lodge. When water is sprinkled on the heated stones, the sweat lodge is filled with steam. Inside the sweat lodge, certain religious men pray for the sick or troubled people of their tribe. The medicine woman, sitting between her 2 assistants, is the sponsor of the Sundance. She wears a robe made of elk skin. She fasts for 4 days and prays to the sun for the welfare of her people. After a prayer period, the men leave the sweat lodge. The medicine woman is one of the older women of the tribe who is greatly respected by her people. she will return to her tipi for further prayer. The actual Sundance is performed in the medicine lodge. Selecting and cutting the poles for building the medicine lodge is part of the ceremony. This party is bringing the poles to build the medicine lodge. The framework of the lodge will be decorated with fresh green boughs. This forked sun pole will be put up in the center of the medicine lodge. Smaller trees were selected for the outer framework of the lodge. These men are performing the Sundance. They face the east as they dance in front of a small booth which is constructed inside the lodge. They begin their dance facing the east, then they turn and face toward the west. The dancers move up and down, flexing their knees in rhythm with the drums. When the drums stop, the dancers enter the booth to rest. The dancers start and stop dancing many times during the day of the Sundance. Around his neck, one of the dancers wears a necklace made of elk's teeth. To the rhythm of the drums, the dancers blow their shrill whistles made from the bone of an eagle and decorated with soft eagle feathers. The sound of the whistle imitates the cry of an eagle. To the Indian, the eagle was a symbol of great power and strength. The dancers gaze steadily at the sun while dancing. Long ago, the sun dancers wore wreaths of juniper leaves on their heads. This dancer combines the juniper wreath of old with a beautifully beaded headband and rosettes. In the past, the sun dancers fasted and danced continuously for several days and nights. The sun dance was one of the most important tribal ceremonies of the Plains Indians. Today, the sun dance is fully understood only by the older members of the tribe. When the religious ceremony is finished, the grass dance and the soap person comes to watch the grass dancers. Some of the dancers are very graceful as they follow the rhythm of the drum beat. The children are very good dancers too. The drummers sit in the center of the dance circle. One group of drummers rests while the other drums. The dancers wear colorful costumes, many decorated with and fringe trimming. Ceremonial headdresses and beaded costumes of deerskin are valuable remnants of the Indians' dress clothing of long ago. Some wear bells which jingle as they move about. The younger men wear beaded headbands and rosettes. They also wear gaily decorated breechcloths over their trousers. Many couples join in the social dance, moving around the drummers in the center of the circle. They dance in a forward one step, which is slower than the step used by the grass dancers. The little Indian girls are having lots of fun. Now the dancing is over. It is time for the Indians to pack their wagons and automobiles and return homes. Their colorful costumes will next year's Sundance.